John wheeled his wife Marlene into the kitchen. After lowering her head to a soft pillow on the kitchen table, John went through the house, turning out lights. He was hoping that the darkness would keep toddlers Marlene, Joe, and Danny near their mother while he tended to the evening farm chores. Life hadn't always been such a struggle. As thy day, so shall thy strength be. Deuteronomy 33:25. When this verse first came to Marlene, she didn't understand how her soul would cling to that promise. The desire for strength became a constant prayer. Marlene Linville's story isn't a popular heroine chronicle. It's a simple story of strength, of trust, and of finding joy in uncomfortable circumstances. Marlene Tinsley had an ordinary childhood filled with climbing trees and riding bikes. After her 5 older siblings left home, it was Marlene's responsibility to milk the cows by hand daily. At age 14, Marlene started dating John Linville, a 20-year-old farmer who, according to Marlene, was just being courteous until an older girl came along. Marlene didn't see a future for them because of their age difference, so when John suggested taking a break from dating, she understood. He gave her permission to go ahead and date other guys, but he was going to wait for her to grow up. After Marlene saw how he truly cared, her own attitude changed. On May 12, 1949, Marlene graduated high school and married her high school sweetheart on May 21st, 1949, exactly 9 days after her graduation. That next year, Marlene Joe was born, followed by his brother Dan 15 months later. The fall of 1952 found John and Marlene eagerly awaiting the arrival of their third child. However, life was about to drastically change for the Linville family. It was October 25th, 1952. The headache was relentless, but Marlene was determined to attend church that particular Sunday morning. Little Dan's first birthday was close, and she didn't want him to miss the opportunity to place his birthday penny in the offering plate. Marlene suffered through Sunday school, but then needed to go home. Waking up the next morning, Marlene's joints were throbbing. After examining her, John was secretly informed by the doctor that she would lose use of her limbs. The doctor's prediction was proven correct the next morning when she tried to step out of her room. Her legs collapsed. It was a day that changed her life forever. With the weakness and paralysis spreading through her body, they headed to the hospital. Fear strangled them. Fear she would need an iron lung. Fear that the baby in her womb would be affected. Fear that she would not recover. She was told her nerves were sick and she should return to normal within a year. Laying their hands on her body, fellow church members prayed for Marlene's healing. The paralysis quit spreading. While she still could not sit up or move her legs, she wasn't declining. She would need strength. That next winter, their third child, a healthy little girl, was born, an answer to her many prayers. 1 year passed and she still had not improved. After being sent to a specialist, John and Marlene were informed that she had been misdiagnosed. She had contracted polio, only 1 short year before the polio vaccine was invented. Improving, Marlene was now able to sit up, wear full-length leg braces, and walk stiff-legged. After the devastating news of polio sunk in, John and Marlene were determined to live as normal of a life as possible. For her, this meant having 6 more children, when everyone else thought she was crazy. She couldn't even walk around with her babies, let alone take care of the laundry and still cook for them all. And so there were 9 Linville kids, 6 boys and 3 girls, the youngest being my mom. Grandma told me that throughout her hardships, she had to adapt to not walking, adapt to not carrying her children, adapt to not taking walks in the woods or working in her flower garden. However, growing accustomed to change isn't always easy. The Lord had to help her get through the days when all she wanted to do was cry and wallow in self-pity. She found his strength to be perfect. Adapting to chores around the house proved difficult. Grandma would pull herself out of her wheelchair and drag herself across the floor, sweeping or mopping. Putting kettles of water on a metal railing attached to the bottom of her wheelchair, Grandma would transport the kettle from the kitchen sink to the stove or vice versa. Dead nerve endings rendered Marlene's legs useless. As a result, her knees would extend backwards, causing her legs to bow, wearing out the cartilage in her knees. Grandma has been confined to an electric scooter for over 25 years from the extreme pain of bone-to-bone contact. Today, Grandma is 84 and continues to grow weaker. Now, by the end of the day, the ache in Grandma's arms is so extreme that she can barely turn a page in a book. With Grandma continually getting weaker and Grandpa feeling the effects of Parkinson's and old age, it was time for more change. With her level of need being almost 24 hours, they decided to move into the nursing home. Grandma got approved to move in before Grandpa did and spent the first few days alone and miserable. Besides leaving home, one of the hardest things about the move for Marlene was that she was not permitted to use her electric scooter. She had to be in a wheelchair. Because of the weakness in her arms, she couldn't move herself around. And being the resident with the highest level of care, she often got left for last. And so, she would sit and think, sit and cry, sit and pray. That promise came back to her as it often throughout her life. As thy days, so shall thy strength be. Through her transition from the Linville farm to Morristown Manor, Grandma gained a new perspective. My grandparents have embraced their new move as a new mission field. The Lord has made them missionaries through their weakness. If you were to ask my grandpa how they're adjusting to the move, he would explain to you a third world missionary's living conditions. He would then tell you that compared to a shack in India, he's living in a mansion and he's living there with his queen. Grandma finds the best in every situation and gives God praise. She continues to pray for strength. One day, the social worker announced that after seeing Grandma's lack of mobility, she had talked with the safety committee and they were willing to change policy and allow Grandma to use her scooter. Tears of joy rolled down Grandma's face when Mom and I told her the good news. While she was only allowed to use her scooter in her room, having just that little bit of freedom meant she could brush her teeth and wash her hands whenever she wanted. However, the social worker was still hard at work. A few weeks later, she informed the family that Marlene Linville had been granted the right to go anywhere in the nursing home with her scooter. My grandparents have adjusted to their new lifestyle. Grandpa has a group of men he's ministering to. Grandma uses her new freedom to visit residents who aren't blessed with many visitors. And together, they were nominated King and Queen of the nursing home for Valentine's Day. Nehemiah 8:10 says, "The joy of the Lord is my strength." And that is so true for my grandmother. I've never seen her walk. I've never seen my grandma stand. Yet I know she is a woman of strength. When new trials arise, she laughs. She laughs because the challenges are crazy, yet the words "trust me" are always echoing through her mind. Those who know my grandma know about her happiness, the happiness that comes from our Lord Jesus Christ, whom she asked to take over her life when she was just 8. When I asked Grandma what had kept her from becoming bitter during her first years of polio, she told me she had hope. The doctors had given her hope that within a year she would be better. Although God had a different plan, she didn't let that snag drag her down. She also showed me that the book of Job was particularly encouraging to her. Job went through terrible hardships and trials, yet Job 34 says that he was a righteous man. She knows she isn't being punished for something she's done, but the fact that she stood with the Lord and not let Satan get a hold of her is a comfort. She counts her blessings. Grandma is grateful to have escaped the need for an iron lung. She's grateful to be married to a farmer who has stood by and taken care of her for 66 years. She's grateful for her 9 kids, 28 grandkids, and 18 great-grandkids. And she's thankful for the strength the Lord bestows on her each and every day. While she started off with her head on the kitchen table, all strength zapped from her, Marlene Linville learned to rely on the Lord's strength in her weakness. The joy of the Lord has provided my grandmother with physical strength, provided her with a way to adapt to new hardships, and provided an antidote to bitterness and self-pity. Grandma once told me that yes, her life had been hard, and she'd been through many, many trials. But if she could trade her life for one without suffering or pain, she wouldn't. The closeness she's felt from the Lord has made the suffering